From the shadows of dense jungles to the icy peaks of remote mountains, Earth has birthed some of the most fearsome creatures imaginable. Apex predators, nature's ultimate hunters. Lions with muscles coiled like springs, ready to pounce. Crocodiles with jaws powerful enough to crush bone. Great white sharks slicing through the ocean like silent death. These are the kings and queens of their domains, honed by evolution for one purpose: survival at the top. And yet, they all have something in common. They end up on our plates. It's almost laughable when you think about it. We're soft-skinned, slow-moving, relatively weak mammals who somehow manage to not only survive among these beasts, but dominate them completely. Not just with weapons or brute force, but with confidence, with arrogance, with a shrug and a, "Yeah, I'll take that bear down." We don't fear them. We hunt them. We farm them. We grill them with a side of rice and call it dinner. Imagine telling a tiger 200 years ago that humans would one day track its kind into near extinction, not out of necessity, but because we wanted its skin on our floors and its bones in questionable medicine. Or telling a shark that one day, its fins would be boiled into soup for rich men trying to show off. They wouldn't believe you. Why would they? They were built to rule. But so were we, just differently. Where nature gave predators claws and fangs, it gave us opposable thumbs and minds that never stopped calculating. We didn't evolve to run faster. We evolved to build machines that go faster. We didn't need venom when we had poison. We didn't need camouflage when we had rifles with scopes. Our power wasn't in our bodies. It was in our ability to reshape the world around us. And reshape it, we did. In every corner of the globe, we've made it clear, no creature is untouchable. Polar bears, once the undisputed rulers of the Arctic, now face starvation as we melt their world, but also as we relocate them like pets when they wander too close. Elephants, massive and intelligent, are poached by the thousands for ivory. Rhinos, armored and ancient, hunted nearly to extinction for a myth. Even the deep sea isn't safe. Sperm whales, giant squids, colossal jellyfish, all live in a realm untouched by sunlight. But we dive into that darkness with nets, harpoons, and hunger in our eyes. We pull monsters from the abyss and fillet them like fish sticks. You could argue it's cruel. You could say it's unnatural. But you can't deny it's impressive. Because somewhere along the line, we stopped being part of the food chain and started rewriting it. We didn't rise to the top through strength alone. We climbed there with fire, with steel, with science, and sometimes with nothing more than sheer audacity. So next time you see a lion on a nature documentary, roaring across the savannah like an unchallenged king, just remember, that roar might echo through the wild, but it won't echo through eternity. Because someone, somewhere, probably already ate his cousin and posted it on Instagram. Deep in the frozen north of an uncharted island, local legends spoke of a beast no hunter had ever returned from facing. A creature of myth and shadow, said to be part wolf, part bear, an entirely nightmare. The locals called it Vargast, meaning the final hunt. Stories told of entire expeditions disappearing without a trace, their gear found weeks later miles from camp, ripped apart like paper. Governments dismissed it as folklore. Scientists called it nonsense. But hunters? Hunters whispered about it in bars and lodges, daring each other to take the trip. None did. Until now. Meet Jake Rourke, 38, ex-military, current survival instructor, and owner of a YouTube channel with suspiciously high views for someone who claims not to care about fame. He didn't go looking for the Vargast. It came looking for him. He was on the island for a routine expedition, teaching tracking and cold weather survival. On day 3, one of his students vanished during a solo exercise. No screams, no footprints leading away. Just gone. That's when Jake knew something big was out there. Most would have packed up and left. Not Jake. He stayed. For 2 weeks, he combed the tundra with nothing but a rifle, traps, and sheer stubbornness. Then on night 15, it finally showed itself. The footage from his helmet cam is grainy, shaky, but unmistakable. A massive, hulking figure stepping into the firelight. 7 feet tall at the shoulder, fur white as snow, eyes glowing like coals. It moved like a predator that had never known fear. And why would it? Nothing in its world could challenge it. Jake stood his ground, didn't panic, didn't run, just raised his rifle, took a steady breath, and fired. One shot. That's all it took. The beast staggered, then collapsed into the snow with a final growl that sounded almost annoyed. The next morning, Jake did what any rational human would do after killing a mythical monster. He skinned it, and then he cooked it. Over a crackling fire, with snow falling gently around him, Jake roasted a thick steak over open flames while filming a live stream. His followers thought it was a joke at first. Then they saw the carcass in the background. "Tastes like moose," he said between bites. "A little gamier, but not bad." When asked if he felt any guilt, he shrugged. It was either me or it, and I wasn't going to let some oversized fluffball ruin my weekend. Jake's video went viral. Conspiracy theorists claimed it was fake. Animal rights groups flipped out. Governments demanded answers. But none of it mattered, because somewhere deep in the Arctic a legend died, not by blade or bullet alone, but by fork and knife. And humanity added another trophy to the wall. Not because we had to, but because we could. Humans don't just hunt apex predators. We track them, trap them, tag them, and then grill them like they owe us money. Take the grizzly bear. 7 feet tall, claws like daggers, powerful enough to snap a moose's spine with one swipe. And yet, every year in Alaska, hunters line up for the chance to take one down. Not out of fear, not for survival, for bragging rights, and sometimes dinner. Bear meat isn't exactly a delicacy, but that hasn't stopped people from trying. Some say it tastes like venison. Others say it tastes like adrenaline-fueled pride. Then there's the king of the seas, the great white shark. Silent, massive, built for killing. Movies make it out to be a monster, but in reality, humans kill hundreds of them every year. Not in dramatic battles, not on fishing shows, but quietly, through bycatch, trophy hunting, and the fin trade. Shark fin soup might be controversial now, but it wasn't long ago that entire species were being wiped out just to sit in a bowl of broth for a rich wedding guest. And let's talk about crocodiles. These creatures haven't changed much in 200 million years. They survived the dinosaurs, but they didn't survive us. Crocodile farming is a multi-billion-dollar industry. We raise them in captivity, slaughter them, tin their skin into belts and boots, and then serve their meat in high-end restaurants. One moment, they're apex predators ruling wetlands. The next, they're appetizers. Even tigers, symbols of raw power and beauty, aren't safe. There are more tigers in captivity in Texas than there are in the wild worldwide. Some are used for petting zoos. Others end up butchered and sold under the table. In parts of Asia, tiger bone wine is still consumed by men who believe it gives them strength. It doesn't, but we keep killing them anyway. Bullfighting is another example. A full-grown bull charges at nearly 35 miles per hour, weighing over a ton, horns sharp enough to gut a man in seconds. And yet, for centuries, we've turned this deadly animal into an art form, or a spectacle, depending on your point of view. The matador dances, taunts, stabs, and kills. Then he poses. Then the crowd cheers. Then the bull ends up in a butcher shop or on a plate. We don't stop at land or sea. Even the skies aren't safe. Golden eagles, once feared and revered by ancient cultures, are now poisoned, shot, or trapped by farmers protecting livestock. Falcons are hacked to death with machetes in some regions. Vultures, essential to ecosystems, are poached for body parts used in witchcraft. It's not just about food or trophies. It's dominance, control, proof that no matter how strong, fast, or deadly nature makes something, we can break it. We don't just live alongside these animals. We rewrite their futures, sometimes with conservation, often with extinction. We cage polar bears in zoos while melting their real homes. We relocate lions from Africa to Las Vegas so tourists can take selfies. We farm alligators in pens barely bigger than their bodies. Komodo dragons, ancient lizards capable of killing deer with one bite, are kept behind glass for school field trips. The message is clear: nothing is untouchable. No predator too fearsome, no creature too sacred. We decide who lives, who dies, and what ends up on a menu. That's the power of the human race. We don't just survive in the wild. We tame it. We eat it. And sometimes we post about it. There's something undeniably unsettling about realizing that no creature on this planet is truly safe from us. Not the ones that swim in the deepest trenches, not the ones that soar above the clouds, and certainly not the ones that stalk the shadows of the jungle or prowl the frozen tundras. If they exist, we've either found them, fought them, or feasted on them. That kind of power would crush most species under the weight of responsibility. But not humans. We carry it like a badge, wear it like armor, and sometimes we even laugh while doing it. Because here's the truth. We weren't born with fangs, or claws, or venom, or camouflage. Evolution didn't give us speed or strength. What it gave us was something far more dangerous: curiosity, creativity, and an almost absurd level of confidence. We looked at the world's deadliest creatures and didn't cower. We studied them, hunted them, cooked them, named them on menus. We didn't just survive among apex predators. We rewrote the rules so we could become the only one that matters. But here's the thing about being at the top. You don't get to hide behind excuses anymore. Every extinction, every ecosystem collapse, every endangered species blinking out because of our hunger or greed, it's on us. There's no higher predator to blame. No force of nature balancing things out. Just us, the final word in the food chain. And yet, for all the destruction, there's also wonder. For all the arrogance, there's also awe. Because no other species has ever done what we've done. Built cities where forests once stood, flown into space, created symphonies and skyscrapers and sushi rolls. We are flawed, yes. Dangerous, absolutely. But also brilliant, unmatched, unprecedented. Some say we're the virus of the planet. Others say we're its greatest miracle. Maybe we're both. The point is, we're here, standing over the bones of creatures that ruled long before us, and will likely rule long after we're gone, if we aren't careful. But right now, in this moment, there's no denying it. We are the apex, not by size, not by instinct, but by sheer willpower, intelligence, and the audacity to say, yeah, I'll take that lion down, and maybe grill it later. And maybe that's the scariest part. Not that we can do these things, but that we often do them without thinking twice. That we've become so powerful, so dominant, that we forget how much damage we can do with a single decision. Still, if you had to bet on one species to survive the apocalypse, rebuild civilization from ash, or terraform another planet, you wouldn't pick the tiger, or the shark, or the bear. You'd pick us, because for all our flaws, we are relentless, adaptable, brilliant, terrifying, and sometimes, just sometimes, we're awesome. So next time you hear about someone hunting a crocodile, or eating a polar bear, or tracking down some mythical beast in the Arctic wilds, don't be surprised. Be impressed, because that's what we do. We don't just survive. We conquer. We create. And yeah, sometimes we eat kings.